Hello, my name is KB Beatty, and today I'm going to be talking to you about freedom of expression, controlling access to information on the internet. When a person thinks of limiting internet access, several different types of restrictions as well as restrictors might come to mind. A parent might want to limit the type of content available to their children, or a government might desire to censor the information that their subjects can reach. Relatively recently, the largest of these battles is that of internet service providers trying to limit access to forms of content that they see as problematic to their business. Today, I'd like to focus on this last issue and dive further in depth to what it means and how it affects all users of the internet as the battle for net neutrality rages on around us as we speak. Before we get into the finer details of net neutrality, let's lay some foundation. So when a customer signs up with an internet service provider, they agree to pay a certain amount of money for a certain bandwidth speed. Net neutrality is the idea that all requested content is delivered at this speed. As Hank Green, founder of VidCon and Vlogbrothers, explained, the internet can be thought of like water flowing in through a shower. All content is being delivered at the fastest speed possible. This means anything from New York Times to YouTube to Pirate Bay is all treated equally. If the internet were to become non-neutral, internet providers would be able to turn the flow up or down for different types of material, delivering some faster than others. Traditionally, the internet has been neutral. However, as time passed, the number of users on the internet grew, as did the content and size of the content on the internet. Likewise, the amount of bandwidth that a single user could purchase from a service company also increased. This created a problem for the internet service providers as they were struggling to provide all of the bandwidth necessary for all of their users to access everything that they wanted. Unfortunately for the telecom companies, the only way to solve this problem would be to update and increase their infrastructure, which would cost them money and cut into their profit margins. However, service providers hatched a creative solution for their problem. After noticing that BitTorrent was using a sizable portion of the internet bandwidth, companies decided that they could circumvent their problem by adjusting the speed at which these types of downloads were received by their users. BitTorrent is a peer-to-peer file sharing communications protocol that allows users to share large files, such as those used for music and video, with one another over the internet. BitTorrent is notorious for its use to share music and movies illegally. Knowing this, it would be reasonable for a person to assume that it would be justified to limit the speed on this type of internet traffic. However, BitTorrent is used to share information both legally and illegally, and there's no way to differentiate the two to only allow the legal kind access to premium speed. More importantly though, it is not the job of the internet service provider to enforce the law, much in the same way that it would not be the job of the electric company to ration the amount of electricity that they provide to customers using their product to power growing lamps for marijuana production. The internet is unique in that, unlike other forms of utilities, there is a middleman. Traditionally, the same company that is selling water or power is also the same company making that good. If the internet were to become non-neutral, this would place internet service providers in a distinct position to be able to charge both the consumers and the creators of the content for access to one another. In fact, this is exactly what happened in 2014 when the television and movie streaming service Netflix reached a deal with one of the country's largest internet companies, Comcast, so that they could more reliably reach their audience. Allowing the internet companies to decide what content they provide at what speed would set a dangerous precedent, and companies would also be capable of favoring their own content, which would potentially eliminate their competition in a less than sporting manner. Additionally, smaller content creators would not be able to compete due to lack of financial fortitude. The beauty and the glory of the internet is that anyone can create whatever content they desire and connect to an audience who is equally enthusiastic about their creation. And an internet run by corporations and controlled by what's best for profit margins is really no internet at all.